my name's Sage, and I'm the Youth Program Coordinator here at Community Services Unlimited, and welcome to our latest Cooking and Nutrition Workshop. Today we're going to be cooking up a delicious spaghetti squash with a vegan cauliflower Alfredo sauce to go with it. This is a completely plant-based, nut-free, vegan recipe, and I promise you'll have even the pickiest eaters coming back for seconds. So let's get started. Started with cutting the squash along its side. So you can see it's kind of a unusual shape, and instead of cutting like what would be at the equator, we're actually going to cut it the long way. So I'm just going to be making the final cut into it now, and you can see it's really beautiful. It's such a pretty color. And what we're gonna do now is just take a fork or your hands if you're not afraid to get messy, and you're going to take out this extra matter. Spaghetti squash is a nutrient-dense food. In particular, it's a good source of fiber, vitamin C, and B6. Okay. Now that the squash is cut and cleaned, we're going to add some olive oil. And we don't want too much because that will increase the cooking time. So I just measure out in the cap and kind of sprinkle it in there. About a cap full is fine. You don't want more than that. And then you're going to want to just rub that in to the squash. Spaghetti squash has a subtle flavor and is low in carbs, which makes it a great substitute for pastas and a complement to tasty sauces. I really like the squash's natural flavor, so we're gonna keep the spices simple. Just a little bit of salt and then some pepper. So I'll make sure you rub it in, get every little corner of it. From here, we're going to put it face down on a baking pan. So, right like that. We're almost done prepping our squash. The last thing we're going to want to do is poke some holes into the outer layer of the skin with a fork or whatever instrument of your choosing. I've already done it on this side, as you can see. Leave some little holes, and this is just to make sure that we're allowing the steam to release as the squash is cooking. And this also cuts down on cooking time. And make sure that our squash is cooked all the way through. And so you have to be a little bit aggressive about it to make sure you're going all the way in. But once you're done with that, you can plop it right in the oven. So we've had the oven preheating at 375, so it's all ready to go. Gonna put the squash in the oven for about 20 minutes and then check on it. And in the meantime, we're gonna get started on our sauce. Putting our chopped cauliflower into our boiling water. Cauliflower is the star of this sauce. It contains almost every vitamin and mineral you need. Fiber, vitamin C, K, B6, folate, potassium, magnesium, phosphorus. It is really, really nutritiously dense. And so we're going to let these florets boil for about 10 minutes until they're soft to cut through. On to the garlic. We're going to get about 3 tablespoons of oil heating up. I recommend using olive oil, mainly for the taste. So we're going to want to really watch the heat because we don't want the garlic to burn. Garlic is highly nutritious. 1 clove is packed full of manganese, vitamin B6, vitamin C, and fiber. I love garlic for so many reasons. Not only is it super tasty, it also helps prevent and reduce the severity of common illnesses like the flu, and has been said to help improve blood pressure. We're gonna get all this garlic in there. Nice. I really like some spice, so I'm gonna go ahead and add some crushed chili. I'm going to cut the heat And now this is ready to throw into the blender with our cauliflower. Now we're gonna check on our spaghetti squash. They smell really great, and what we're gonna do is just turn it over so we can get a good look at it. So as you can see, it's really soft. It has really good coloring. And the best way to check if spaghetti squash is done is just to use a fork to see if you can separate the squash off of the outer skin. And this is coming off really nicely. So this is perfect. So our cauliflower is done, and I went ahead and put it right into the blender. And if you can see, we have about 3/4 of the water that it was boiled in. So you don't want to throw that water away. You want to make sure that you keep enough of it so you can blend the cauliflower in that water, because that water has a lot of that cauliflower flavor. So we're going to add in the garlic and oil and chili, and then we're gonna blend it up. So I added the rest of the cauliflower vegan Alfredo sauce into the spaghetti squash and stirred it all up, and it is looking so creamy and delicious. And just so you see what the shells look like when they're empty, there is absolutely nothing left. And I made sure to really go in with my fork and rake out everything so that nothing went to waste. And that's a really fun part of the process, so especially if you're cooking with any young people, younger children, it's a super fun activity to do with them. So as you can see, this recipe took about 40 minutes, and it was pretty straightforward to make this whole dish. One thing I love about cooking this dish right now is that everything is in season here in LA. It's really important to try to eat with the seasons as much as possible, and this is a great way to do it in the winter. Because the garlic, spaghetti squash, and cauliflower are so nutrient dense and high in antioxidants, this dish is a powerhouse for our immune system. This is gonna help you feel good and fight off any of the flus or colds going around this season. The third best thing about this dish is that you don't need any fancy kitchen tools, equipment, or even ingredients. It's really cost effective and accessible. And if you do try it at home, let us know what you think. We'd love to hear your feedback. And thank you so much for tuning in to this month's update of our cooking and nutrition workshop. We'll be back next month with even more. So see you next time.